Alright, so ready to glue this piece up finally. So I've got my clamps kind of already set up how I'm going to do it. I'm going to clamp right in the middle towards that end of the frame. That'll push the piece that way. I'm going to clamp from here to here, squeeze it in this way, and then I'm going to clamp down this way on both sides. That should fully secure the piece. Alright, so just got to add the glue to both halves of this. Yep. Alright. I'm going to use a little bit extra glue because I want this to be really secure as possible. It's fine if some of it comes off the side. I'll just wipe it up after I'm done clamping. So we've got that surface right there. We've got this surface right there. And then over here, same thing. Just adding plenty of glue. Same thing on this piece here. Okay, got that side. Do the other side. Okay. And then there's this side right here. Goes all the way through here, like that. Okay. On this side too, like that. And I don't need it right there, so I'm going to wipe that off. Okay. We'll make sure this is a nice even coat on all surfaces. My high-tech glue applicator right here, which is just a strip of plywood. That's how it's supposed to look right there. There we go. That's that side. And we'll do this side here. Really important to get right down in there, right there. Make sure we got glue on there. Get every bit of it covered with, every surface covered with glue. And actually I had this surface right down here that I forgot to add glue, but I've got a little extra here on the, we'll take care of that. There we go. There we go. And same thing on this side. Okay. Looking good. This is the surface right there that I missed. Okay. It's looking good. Alright, ready to glue it. Got my rag here, wipe up excess. Okay, so this guy just drops down on here, like that. I'm gonna clamp down lengthwise first on this. So I don't have a clamp that goes the full distance, so I'm using 2 clamps Make sure that you can see that. I'm using 2 clamps right there to go lengthwise. Okay. Not going to clamp too hard on these. I just need it to be a nice tight fit. I'm not going to clamp too hard, especially at first, because I'm not fully aligned with all the other orientations. Right? So the other one I'm going to clamp is going to be this way. Just lightly clamp it this way. Like this. I'll flip this over this way. Okay. So that'll clamp it this way, and I've got this way also. Now what I need this way, right here. So there, I'm just going to use some of these guys. Carefully lift up on this piece here. Okay, glue is squeezing out, which is a good sign. These clamps are pretty cheap. One of these days I'm going to kind of upgrade to something better or make my own. These guys don't really have the clamping force, and also I've broken a few of these before. I don't quite have this guy positioned right. I'll back him out. Got to make sure I don't overlap the wood. Got to clamp these 2 surfaces together. Position of the clamp is pretty important. There we go. Okay. Let's check this guy. No, this guy isn't right. Back him off a little bit. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay, then we just tighten these guys down more. And tighten this guy this way some more also. You don't want to clamp down so hard that you start damaging the wood. And technically, I should really have some shim material to protect the wood. I'm not really clamping down that hard, so I'm gonna skip that. Now we can check, wipe off some of the excess glue and check and see if we got it clamped down good. We want it to be a real tight fit. You don't want any gaps with this stuff. That looks pretty good there. Glue is going to take up some of that if you did have some gaps. And probably I should have had this flipped over the other orientation, because then I could get a better view of the other side, which is the cosmetic side. I think we're alright though. I think did it the right way here. Clamped all the surfaces. I think we've got it just about as good as it's going to get. Take the glue out of this little notch here on both sides, because that's where the mirror is going to be. You don't want any extra glue in there. That mirror rests on a little piece of hardened glue that could cause a problem. So I'm gonna make sure we get all that glue out of there. It's a little difficult to sand in that groove also, so but best to get it out of there right away, not have to rely on sanding it later. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, in theory I should be able to lift this thing up and check the bottom side. Pretty good. Not perfect. It's hard to be perfect with this material here. A lot of curves and angles, and plus it's old wood too. Okay, that looks like that will do it. Just let that dry. Yeah, next step after this is going to be the roundovers. And then final sanding, and then staining, and then mirror. Well, actually, then it's getting the back plate, backer board cut out. What I did, I bought a piece of a 1/4-inch backer board. I'll show you what it looks like here. This material right here, that's not going to have that guy on that. I'm going to have that guy be on the inside surface. This will be on the outside surface. Right there, I'm going to cut it to the outside perimeter of the frame, and then screw it in place. Alright, this is dried for about a half a day. I think that's probably long enough. I really want to finish this project, otherwise I'd probably let it dry for a full 24 hours. So take these clamps off there. Take a look at what we've got. Okay. Alright, so that's with it glued in place there. So I can kind of zoom in on that a little bit. You can really see the difference in color of the wood. Right there. That right there is kind of a router burn mark right there. It's not, yeah, I still need to do some final sanding and the roundovers. It's really the next step. This is the roundovers. There I'm going to have a 1/2-inch roundover on this side, a 1/2-inch roundover on this side. Carry that through all the way across. This is some extra glue that I'll just clean that up right here. Now I made this oak piece here a little bit taller. I think I'm going to do the roundovers first, and then that's going to remove quite a bit of material, and then I'll come back and flatten it out to make it match the rest of the frame. I might have to run another pass on the roundover again after I lower it a little bit, but that'll be quick. Alright, I did a pass with the 1/2-inch roundover bit, and it's turning out okay. I still have some more shaping that I need to do. My next step is I'm going to take down the top take down the top surface flush with the rest of this frame, and then I'll probably end up having to do another pass on with the round over, just to kind of reset that profile, given that I've lowered the top part. Okay, right there is the really the finished product right there. And of course the lighting isn't very good here. I'm recording this at night, so but yeah, I mean, this thing turned out really good. It's nice and smooth now. I started with 60 grit and then went to 120. I don't think I'm going to need to really go anything more than 120 with this. Oak is pretty coarse grained anyway, so I don't really know if it's going to really help that much more than just using 120. But yeah, there's the bottom side right there. We've got a channel in there for the mirror. There's some defects in this thing that I just not really going to be able to do much about. Like right here, there's a chip in the original frame part. This is on the inside, so it's just not going to matter. And then I was noticing some areas, that's probably not going to show up very well. No, it's not going to show up very well. But there's just a couple of things that I couldn't make perfect because of reusing the original frame part had some defects to it. Okay, I think the next step really is going to be attempting to stain this. And that might be a little tricky part. I'm going to have to use a pretty dark stain on this because you can really see the difference between this old oak and the new oak. It might even be different species of oak. I'm not familiar enough to know to tell. But I'm going to have to use something dark to make up for that difference in color. Okay, so I've got some stain here. It's a dark brown stain. It says Kona on the jar. Dark brown stain. I'm going to try it on the back side of this just to see what it does. This will be the non-visible side, just to get an idea. Is this going to work, or do I need to do something else? And I'm not the best with staining stuff at all, but I'm going to attempt it. I'm just going to attempt to go over it with one stroke. Whoa, that is dark. That's way dark. Holy cow. I don't know if that's going to work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off the excess. Get a clean rag here. Oh boy, it's spilled over to the side. Oh man. I think this is going to work, but I think it's going to take a few coats of it. It's going to take staining it and then wiping it off and then staining again. And I did spill some over on the visible side here. Hopefully I didn't just screw that up big time. I think I put too much on there. And put another real thin coat over it. Let it sit for a minute. Man, that is really dark. I don't know if it's coming across, but that is way dark. Let it sit for a minute and then wipe it off carefully, trying to keep this dust free. I really should have gloves on for this also. You know, I think that's going to work. It's not really too dark, and it really brings out the grain of the oak. I might have to hit this piece here a little bit more than this stuff up here. But yeah, that gives it a real kind of a rich look with that stain. Try one more coat just to see what happens. I'm going to try and hit this right here. See if we can get that a little darker. Maybe that'll be the trick to getting this to match up. Yeah, that's matched up right there. It's pretty close. I think I'd have to paint the whole thing and get a better picture of what it's going to look like. But that's pretty matched up. I really like how that brings the grain out. Okay, I just got done putting a coat of stain on this top side here, and I'm about ready to wipe this down, see what it looks like. If it's anything like the bottom side, it looked really good. This stain really brings out the oak grain. That is very, very cool. I like that. That was a good call with this stain. Wow. Brings out all the grain. Nice rich color. Wow. Of course, I'm a total amateur at this stain stuff. But I think this dark stain might be a little more forgiving. This looks good. This bottom part, you can still see it's lighter. See if I can get in there. Yeah, the lighting isn't very good here, but this is the part I added right here, and it is still lighter. I'm going to have to hit that a couple more times to get that darker to match the rest of the frame, but man, that looks good. Wow. So I just added another coat of stain to this part I replaced, and I'd let it sit on there for a couple of minutes and then wiped it off. It is still not quite there. Still not quite there. I think it needs one more coat, and then very carefully remove the stain from it to keep some additional darkness there. Get that thing to match. It's close. We need, particularly on this side over here, it's noticeably lighter color still. So we'll hit it again, and I think that'll do it. Okay, so this is the back side of the mirror, and this mirror had some water damage, and that caused the backing on the mirror to kind of peel off on the top section. Same area that I had to replace the part of the frame. And so what I'm going to try to do is rather than just do nothing with it, and just I'm going to try to spray can it with some metallic silver Rust-Oleum and see what that looks like. it may help further peeling of this area as well. Never used this stuff before. It's got to be better than nothing. I'm not real sure how it's going to look though. We'll give it a try. I'm just going to really lightly coat the areas that I've cleaned it off before, but I'm going to very lightly and kind of try to be straight down, right? Because I don't want paint getting on the other side of the mirror. Although part of the mirror is going to get covered up anyway, but I'm just going to try and very lightly kind of coat the areas that have peeling. And the hope is, again, that it will look a little better and prevent any other peeling from occurring later. Okay. As I move the mirror a little bit to get this other spot over here. Oh shit. Shouldn't have done that. I need to move it this way. Hope I didn't just mess up. There. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll scrape it off. If a little paint gets on the other side, on the clear side, I'll just clean it up later. Yeah, there's just another patch over here on this side right here that I wanted to hit real quick. Not a lot, just a little bit of paint on there. A large part of that peeling area is going to be hidden anyway, but I do remember when it was in the frame originally that some of those areas were showing, so hopefully this will kind of mask those areas a little bit. I think I got it pretty good. I'll just let that dry. Okay. Okay, I've got a piece of 1/4 inch plywood here. That's going to be the backer board. And I've got the frame here. What I've done is marked out the perimeter of the frame onto this with a pencil, and probably might show there. I don't know if it's going to show or not, but really I'm just going to cut this out with a bandsaw. Yeah, there it is, a little bit at least, showing it. There's a mark there. And what I'm going to do though is I'm not going to quite cut it out this exact size. I want to back it off a certain amount, maybe like maybe an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch from this, because this is the outside of the frame. And if I back it out, or bring it in just a little bit, that's going to help to kind of hide the plywood backer. Because this is the frame itself is just a flush piece. You know, there's no lip, we'll say, right there. You know, so I'll bring that plywood back just a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually cut that out. I'm not going to mark it. I'm just going to manually cut it out that way with the bandsaw. Okay, going to cut this backer board out. Alright, so I cut out the 1/4 inch backer board. It's about an 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch smaller than the outside perimeter of the frame. The idea there is to try and hide it a little bit, but still give you enough width here in this area to add some screws to secure the backer board to the frame. That's for the next step. Well, wait a minute. Actually, the next step is to get the mirror in there. I want to get the mirror in there, and then we'll lay this down over the top of it, and then screw that down carefully together. Okay, here's with the mirror in there. And one thing I noticed was that there is a fair amount of play with the original frame, side-to-side play, down at the bottom here. What I was thinking was to maybe just add a couple of thin shims on the bottom, kind of limit the amount of movement on the bottom. Still give play in there. Still give play, but just kind of try and maybe limit the movement just a little bit. Yeah, like that right there. I think that'll work. Okay. Got the mirror in there. I've got a few points where I want to add the screws. The flat part here is going to be the bottom, so I'm adding 3 screws on the bottom, and then I'll add 3 screws on the sides, really just to hold the backer in place and stiffen the frame up, and then a couple more screws on the top side as well. I've spaced these about a ½ inch off from the end here. That'll put them about center of the material that's available for me to screw to. So that gives me some thickness on the backer board right here, some strength right there, and then I'm pretty centered on where I need to be with the frame part. What I got a 3/4 inch Phillips screw here, brass screw, and I've set the depth of my pilot hole to the same depth as the screw. It's really, essential to drill a pilot hole when you're dealing with oak. And so I'm going to drill probably 2 of the holes first, just to kind of fix the backer board where I need to be. And then I'll go back over the whole thing and add those 2. And there's another step in here also that I'm going to add a bigger drill bit so I can countersink these guys. I don't want these guys sticking up. So that'll be next step. I've already centered this backer board on the frame. I'm going to look at it again, make sure it doesn't move. It looks pretty good. Yeah, so I'm ready. I'm going to drill it right here first. Because I've set the depth of the drill, I can just bring it straight down all the way. Not have to worry about running through the material on the other side. Okay, so there's that one. Then I'm going to drill. I don't want to move this board while I'm doing this, so I'm going to drill this side also. This is just going to be to fix everything in place. Okay. I'm going to go with the bigger drill for this countersink. About right. I'm not going to glue this backer board. I want to be able to remove it if necessary. So just carefully just do a small pilot. Let me zoom in and show you what I'm doing there. There. Yeah. So just very lightly yourself enough room for that countersunk screw to fit in there. Just like that. Same thing over here. Be careful not to move anything. Doesn't take much. You don't have to push hard down on it at all. You just let the weight of the drill do its thing. Add a little bit more to this guy. I don't want the screws to stick out. And now, the moment of truth there about adding the screws. And the last thing you want to do here is you don't want to split the oak by driving these screws in here. So if this is too tight, I might need to go. No, it's not too tight. Okay, that went in there good. I was going to say if they're too tight, I go with a bigger bore hole. Don't want to go too big with it because then your threads aren't going to bite into the wood and hold it very good. So let me zoom out so you can see this over here. Just adding the other one right here. Okay. And again, I'm just doing 2 of these guys to seat the backer board in place. Alright, that's the backer board screwed down. Last step is really to add the mounting hardware and put it up on a wall. I'm going to flip it over so you can see what it looks like. Not sure if it'll all go into view or not. This mirror did have water damage. There's not much I can do for that water damage. Now some of this stuff is going to be I'm going to be able to clean it up by cleaning the glass. Frame looks really nice. I'll say that. The part that's got a problem with water damage is right up here and right here. And that silver spray paint that I did didn't help. The water damage is in between the glass and the mirror film itself, so it really didn't help a lot there. There's not much I can do about that problem. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the frame looks really good. I'm gonna wipe it down, get some of this dirt off of here, off the mirror, and that will be it.